Hello there, beautiful people. This is Evan. I hope you are all doing fantastic today. I myself am having an absolutely fantastic day today. Sun is shining. Got the two windows that I can open reasonably, my front and back door here. Just letting that air flow in. And man, I'm making this video to let y'all know. I love y'all. I love each and every one of you. And man, I've been through a lot. We've all been through a lot, man. We've all been through a lot. Just remember that none of the things that we've been through, any of those, perceivings of lack, perceivings of I have a problem or whatever. It's true, maybe we do have a problem, but that doesn't mean that there's no answer to it. And if you sincerely ask and believe that you already have an answer for it, even though you don't really know the answer for it, that's what Christ said, right? Pray and ask for what you are looking for, and it will be granted to you. Maybe not instantaneously, but in divine timing, which I believe in full-heartedly. Full-heartedly. We are the creator, not the ego self, not the self-perceived human. We're just occupying this vessel for a time, for the experience of life. And in order to catapult our growth and experience as a human, the teachings of Yeshua, Jesus Christ, was something that I always had a difficult time understanding because of my perception on what the Bible really was. Now I'm starting to see it more as much less a literal book, but really the most important words in the Bible are the red letters of Christ. The Nazarene. He was a part of branching off. This is what Nazar means in, I believe, Hebrew. A branching off of these Essenes they broke away from Orthodox Judaism because they realized that these scribes and the religious leaders of the priests were tampering with the Old Testament, making God out to be this vengeful, wrathful, sort of dictator-like being who required animal sacrifice in order to atone for sins. That's not the God that I believe in. I suppose I tried for a time to, but it never sat well with me. I believed a lot of different things, and now I've come right back to, I feel like, where I was before, where I guess I'm supposed to be, but now I have more experience, more understanding. I'm getting back into more of, seeing God in everything. God is in the sun and the moon and the stars, in this cup, in my body, my eyes, my nose, my entire being, my soul, my mind, and all of those same things for you watching. God is in you. God is omniscient, omnipresent, and I forgot the third O. Y'all got to go check out Aaron Abke. I seriously highly recommend y'all. When you're ready, of course. It's not a requirement. We're not really required to do anything. But when you feel the call within you, when you're sick of putting forth so much effort and you're not getting the results that you were expecting, then that's a pretty good indication that you're trying too hard from your ego self instead of learning how to connect with your heart. And how do you do that? It's actually very simple, yet not easy. Learning how to not judge. Learning how to not judge others, because what you judge in others, you judge in yourself. All sentient life forms, all things, even a rock, is imbued with God. And when you judge another, you're judging God's perfect creation. All of God's creation is perfect. Where this idea of sin comes from, it's not a separate power. Evil is not a separate power. It's only the lack of the acknowledgement of the existence of God in all things. And it serves its purpose. But all things are perfect. God's creation is perfect. He did not create evil itself as a separate power. What we perceive as evil is only the lack of acknowledgement of God. Perfection. You are perfect. You are exactly where you need to be right now. And everybody is experiencing their life exactly accordingly to their karma. You know, karma is a real thing. Reaping what you sow, what Christ taught about. Judge not, lest ye be judged. What you put out in equal measure will come right back to you. Not always instantaneously. Maybe sometimes in another lifetime. If you don't, if there were certain lessons that you were meant to learn there, but you chose to go astray and try to do things your own way. You know, and we've all done it. I'm sure I've been on this planet. That's why I get so much deja vu sometimes. It's kind of scary when it happens. I used to find it really awe-inspiring, and I want to get back to that. But sometimes when it happens, I'm like, whoa, I feel like this has happened before. What's going on? And then I'll get like, I don't know if they're downloads or like remembering like places I've been in, like dreams, like years and years ago. I don't know. I don't even know if that's even accurate. Hundreds, thousands, I have no idea of years ago. But I know I've been here before. I've definitely been here before. And a lot of y'all probably have been too. But that can go really deep. I'm still very much so in the beginning stages of learning how to connect to my heart chakra. Yes, the energy centers are valid. They are created by God. Astrology. All of this beautiful stuff. The stars themselves are not just what science thinks they are. The stars themselves are separate intelligences. And they've been mapped out by ancient astrologers. And all of the different, the signs, the zodiac signs, all of that stuff is valid, man. It's like I think I allowed myself to be, I don't know, hit over the head with a stupid hammer and just totally disregard that aspect of life. And it was obviously meant to be. But I've come right back to exactly where I was again, I feel like, but even better than before, and it feels amazing. The third density, we live in the 3D, right? Think about the chakras for a second. The root, sacral, and solar. Most people live in those. Those are like the primal survival. You know, you have your sense of self. You understand that you're a person and everything. And those are like the base, literally the base energy centers. And what prevents us from accessing fourth density consciousness, the heart, which is the fourth chakra, is judgments towards others and towards ourselves. Now, I'm the type of person who really cares about people, but I have many times in the past spread myself too thin, giving too much of myself before I was ready to. And a lot of us can do that. So really, it's very wise, especially if you're first starting to understand this, to work on yourself first. Learn how to love and to not condemn and judge yourself, and to not see yourself as a hopeless sinner that can't do anything about your situation. This is not true. I currently believe that that is escapism. I do not believe that Paul's message in the Bible is for us today. No. I believe Paul was experiencing his incredible amount of karma that he had reaped, and what he was sowing is exactly what happened to him. He was incredibly jealous of the 12. These were fellow Essenes. Not Orthodox Jews, no, they were the Essenes. They were a separate branch of Judaism. Followers of the way, not of the 600 liturgical laws that the hypocritical Pharisees and Sadducees, Fatuces, forgive me, had written into the Old Testament. Even the tablets that Moses brought down, he got angry and broke them because he saw that, basically these children, so to speak, were dancing around a golden calf that they had molten and doing perverse things, right? God wasn't angry at them. God does not have human emotions. He doesn't require sacrifice. He doesn't require atonement for sins or the blood sacrifice of his own son. We are all the sons of God. We are all the sons of God. We are all the one begotten son or daughter of God. Christ himself, Yeshua, is the greatest teacher, I believe. He has the greatest teachings, the absolute greatest teachings. And I don't think that he expected for his teachings to be made into what is now called Christianity. All of the thousands of different denominations. Think about the 600 liturgical laws that were eventually put into the Old Testament, right? What is it, Deuteronomy? Or Leviticus? Deuteronomy, I believe. No, it was 10 very simple commandments. And what are the first 2? Love the Lord God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. And the second is like this, Christ said, love thy neighbor as thyself. And on these commandments hang the whole law and the prophets. If you can just get those down, all the rest will naturally follow suit. It doesn't take effort anymore. You will naturally do the works of your faith. Nothing religious about this. This is where I got bogged down about works. Because I would take the context of somebody speaking on a stage. They're in a church or something, and they have all the self-righteousness and piety and everything. Faith without works is dead. And that's actually true. But the way I perceived it was like going to church, being religious, all this stuff. But all good works means is doing good deeds unto others, man. That's all it means. Service to others. And sometimes you got to start with yourself, because if you're not right with yourself yet, if you haven't aligned that, your heart, really, and gone through, your traumas and really worked on yourself for a while, and to be patient with yourself and to learn how to not judge yourself, then you're not going to, through your own ego's efforts, you're not going to find what you're here to do. You're just going to keep doing the same things you've always been doing. And that's perfectly valid and fine. But for those of us who are tired of it, probably because we've done it hundreds and hundreds of lifetimes, if not more. Who knows? Really? Who knows, man? I don't know 100% yet, but I do know for a nearly unmistakable fact that I have been here before. And I tell y'all what, once you start to treat yourself better and live more righteously, and all that means, it's very simple, but it's not easy because we have to reprogram our minds. You know, we don't have to completely silence the mind, right? Because we can't really do that. But when we observe a certain thought coming into our head, it's just an opportunity to say that I tolerate this or I will not tolerate this. You can either say this out loud when you're by yourself, just being quiet, doing some stretches or meditation, yoga, whatever. Or you can say it in your mind, like if you're doing something, like you're at work doing something, and then this really negative thought comes in and it makes you feel a certain kind of way. This happens to me. I think it happens to a lot of people. But then I think most people, if they're unaware, they'll perceive it as this is how they actually feel about this person or themselves or whatever. And really, they're just thought forms. You know, the thoughts are not really you. Learning how to say, I will not tolerate negative thoughts towards myself or towards others when these things happen, and repeat it a few times in your mind or out loud. Sometimes out loud is better. I find that saying things out loud for me is much more powerful. Like even when I read, I like to read out loud. Just so that I say it like I speak it almost into existence, right? Whatever we believe will enact out in our physical reality. And the more you believe it and truly believe it, and with practice, you can manifest your growth and expansion in this world and co-create in the evolution of humanity and in the new earth, which is right around the corner. You know, the book of Revelations as well, I want to talk about this too. It says in the beginning of the book of Revelations that this was a dream. This was a dream that John had. These were not literal things that were going to happen. There's no rapture that's going to happen that takes out a certain percentage of people who simply believe, and then people are just left. God just pours out wrath on people because, you know, they never heard the gospel. They received the gospel message but did not believe it in their heart or whatever. And God bless all of y'all who still believe that, by the way. I just don't believe it anymore. I don't believe that. I think there's a lot more to who we are, to what existence really is, existing as a human being. And it makes me want to actually experience and live life more. It really does. Instead of seeing myself as a hopeless sinner, I can't do anything about my life. I'm just going to perpetually be in sin. If you believe that, you're just going to repeat the same things over and over and over and over and over again until you get sick of it and cry out to God and say that this can't be right. This can't be right. I've done this way too many times. And see, God is infinitely loving, infinitely patient. He's not angry at anybody for anything. Christ called us to be perfect. Yeshua. He calls us to be perfect. Yeshua was this close to ascending out of this world into the fifth density. But he chose, out of the love of his heart, to come back to a people that had been praying for a Messiah-like figure, a savior, so to speak, to come and show them, you know, to save them, really, to save them from themselves. And that's what he did. He chose to stay here, and he already knew, that he would probably be murdered for it. There's a lot more to the life of Jesus than what I allowed myself to just simply believe set in stone, you know? We always have to test our beliefs, bring them out to their like fullest complete conclusion and be like, is this really enough? I don't know, man. For me it just wasn't enough. It isn't enough. Just to believe in the words of Paul. And hey, you know, we love Paul. I love Paul. I don't judge Paul for what he did, and I don't think that we should. And there's a lot of really good things that he said, actually. Really. I mean, talk about the love chapter in Corinthians, man. What is it, chapter 13, I think? He was just, I think he was simply experiencing ego death. He was experiencing ego death through living out his very negative karma. And he did call it my gospel. So he was rather, I suppose, for lack of better terms, quite narcissistic. But of course, he was a Pharisee, right? He was a Pharisee, uh, persecuted the ones who followed the way, the law of unity, the law of one, which is the real law. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Love the Lord God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. And even in the Dead Sea Scrolls, this is all corroborated. Jesus is in the Dead Sea Scrolls, y'all. And guess how? Guess how the Dead Sea Scrolls were found? Y'all are going to love this. It was a shepherd boy, just a young lad, searching for his lost sheep in a cave. And what did he stumble across? He stumbled across the Dead Sea Scrolls. Isn't that beautiful? Because I believe it was around 600 or 364 AD. The teachings of the Essenes and anybody who followed those things were outlawed, and you were put to death if you had any of this in your possession or if you practiced any of these things. You know? And so it begs the question, why? Why, right? For me, it's a telltale sign that the hungry egos of the leaders at the time simply were on the negative polarity and wanted control because they knew the power in this, that it could completely abolish their power structure, free people, literally free people, and help people to realize the power that they have within them already. The God power, the I am power that all beings, all human beings have. We're very unique because we have self-awareness. We are aware of our humanness and the things that we do. We can make choices, this or that, you know, which makes us different from animals, but yet even the animals are from God. They have God within them. All sentient life forms, even the tiniest little tiny bug. It's all perfect, intelligent design. So this is words from the Cancerian. I am a Cancer. I believe I have a Leo rising and Libra moon. I think I'm gonna get back into astrology at some point again, because it's a beautiful thing, and anything can be used for good or for evil. The lack of acknowledgement of God, but with God, all things are possible, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a lot of truth in what I was saying. But I believe that it was simply for an experience to have, and my life is now unfolding like a beautiful flower in the springtime, just like this beautiful 70-degree day. And it's just glorious, man. I have so much more peace now. Remember, you are loved. I love you all. Have an absolutely blessed day today. I hope that this video blessed you and helps you with whatever thing that you're going through in life right now. And I do also plan on making a little live stream later on tonight. I think I'll drink a few brews. I don't want to go too crazy, but we'll see how it goes. So until next time, peace be unto thee. Salute, and stay strong out there. Remember that we are all one, and you have a purpose here. You are beautiful.